Another driver who some would consider under the mantle of one of the best to never ever win a Formula 1 race, Grand Prix, is Luigi Villoresi. Beginning racing in 1937 professionally, Villoresi would have a prestigious career in motor racing. So, as you guys have guessed based on that intro, number 8 on my list of the top 10 drivers of the 1950s to never win a Formula 1 title ever is none other than Luigi Villoresi. His first professional race, as I said, was in 1937 in Tripoli, and he would race again in 1938 in Italy, qualifying in 12th, 2/10 behind fellow Maserati Carlo Felice Trossi. However, unfortunately, he retired with mechanical problems. He would also race in the 1939 German Grand Prix, which was held only 40 days before the Second World War started, with the German invasion, along with Russia and Slovakia, on the Polish Republic, but retired after a collision, and he'd qualified 11th in that. So you might think, this guy's not very good. But it was after the war where Villoresi was in his prime. And I'm not over-exaggerating here. He was probably the best driver on the planet. Because, let me just show you the list of races he won. 46, Nice Grand Prix. 1947, Buenos Aires twice, Nîmes, Nice, Alsace, and Lausanne. And in 1948, he won in Buenos Aires twice again, in Saint-Gaudens, Albi, Silverstone, Pedralbes, and in 1949 he won Rio de Janeiro and Zandvoort. So, you may now think, how did this guy not be in contention along with Farina and Fangio and Fagioli? Simple. He joined Ferrari.
It's terrible. Drives like a pig.
Oh, you can't say that.
Why not?
It's a Ferrari!
It's a box. It understeers like crazy and the weight distribution is a disaster. It's amazing. All these facilities and you make a piece of crap like this.
If he was at Alfa Romeo, he would have fought for the World Championship, and he probably would have beaten Fagioli, and he might have even beaten Fangio and Farina. I think he would have. I think he would have genuinely won the World Championship based on the form he had. So after the war, as I said, Villoresi debuted in Monaco in the second ever Formula 1 World Championship race in 1950, but retired with a car issue on lap 63, apparently a rear axle. There were signs of promise, however, because he had outqualified Alberto Ascari, who was his teammate, comfortably, ran pretty high up in the race. He would then back this up again in Switzerland, and once again, unfortunately, had car problems, as his engine imploded on lap 9. So this man did not have very much luck, and this would be a run throughout his entire career, where he would do really well in qualifying, and bad luck would happen to him in the races, which meant he never actually won a Grand Prix, which is crazy considering the amount of podiums he had at the time. Then he had his first finish in Belgium.
En Spa, para el Gran Premio de Bélgica que se disputó sobre uno de los más hermosos circuitos de Europa, Fangio pilotaba un Alfa Romeo número 10. Inmediatamente después de la salida, Farina, en un Alfa número 8, pasaba delante de Fangio, que es delante de Fagioli, Rosier y Farina, después de rodar a más de 300 por hora en las rectas.
Where he finished 2 laps down in 6th place after once again out-qualifying Ascari. Had Luigi Villoresi finished where he had qualified, including DNFs, he would have scored a 2nd in Monaco and a 3rd in Switzerland. But in the end, he didn't score a single point in the season. Now what I mean is if Villoresi had qualified 6th, let's say, behind Farina, Fangio, Ascari, Serafini, and Chiron, and Serafini retired, he would be up into 4th place. So if he qualified 6th and that happened, then he'd be up to 4th place. So that's what I'm using here. So in this case, he would have finished 2nd in Monaco because of the first lap medley, but that is not just because of that, it's because he was a really good driver. 1951, however, was actually Villoresi's breakout year, because despite retiring in the opening race of the season in Switzerland due to a crash, he scored his first ever points in Belgium at Spa-Francorchamps, which would end up being a happy hunting ground in his Formula 1 career for him. He qualified third, and he had a steady race, even leading the opening laps, and he finished where he started, in third. So, this man just thought, you know what, I'm going to skip getting 4th and 5th places, I'm just going to go straight to the podium. Instead of just, scoring 4th and 5th places to get points, I'm going to go straight to the podium. He would also take consecutive 3rd places in France and Britain, starting 4th and 5th in those races. And in the end, he took another 2 4th place finishes in Germany and Italy to mean that he finished 5th in the standings come the end of the season, behind the 4 Grand Prix winners that season. 2 of his teammates, Jose Froilan Gonzalez and Alberto Ascari, and of course the world champion Juan Manuel Fangio, and then the reigning world champion Giuseppe Farina. And then in 1952 he was ditched.
Probably easier when you get to your destination to just do a George Michael.
In favour of Giuseppe Farina. And what is extremely unlucky is that this was the one season where Ferrari were extremely dominant. I'm talking like winning every Formula 1 Grand Prix dominant. So not including the Indy 500, they won every single race. And all but one of those races was won by Alberto Ascari, because Ascari was away at Indianapolis, and Taruffi ended up winning the Swiss Grand Prix. When Villoresi competed in the final 2 races of 1952, only Ascari and technically Farina scored more points, as he scored 2 3rd place finishes in Zandvoort and in Monza. He was extremely unlucky because, as I said, the one year he did not race full time was the year that was the least competitive in F1 history, as only Ferrari won Grand Prix and only Jean Bert and Robert Manzon scored podiums outside of the Ferrari drivers. And then he returned full time in 1953, with Maserati getting good again. So to summarise, right, 1950 he's at Ferrari, Alfa Romeo were the quickest team, Ferrari are second, along with, they're battling with Talbot. 1951, Ferrari are fighting for the top place with Alfa Romeo, but he's the number 2 driver to Ascari. You could even argue number 3 driver to Gonzalez. 1952, the one year he could have won a race, he's ditched. 1953, Maserati come back and are quick with Fangio, and it was basically a battle of the Italian teams. Ferrari had a superb lineup. They had Ascari, Farina, Villoresi, and young Brit Mike Hawthorne in their seats, up against Maserati's team of Juan Manuel Fangio, Jose Froilan Gonzalez, Felice Bonetto, and young Onofre Marimon. So they had 3 Argentines and 1 Italian, and Ferrari had 3 Italians and 1 Brit. So one of them was a bit more patriotic than the other. Villoresi would be beaten by all of his teammates. However, it's worth noting that he lost points in Zandvoort, at the Nürburgring, at Silverstone, due to issues which were not his fault. He finished only 2 points behind Mike Hawthorne in the standings. Keeping in mind Hawthorne, of course, won the French Grand Prix, and 9 behind Giuseppe Farina. And had he finished 3rd in Zandvoort and in Britain, which was where he had been running pre-retirement, he would have closed up 4 points due to the way the point system worked then with best finishes, etc. And that would have put him ahead of Hawthorne and 4th in the standings. He did score 3 podiums, however, in Argentina, Belgium, and in Italy, because he finished 2nd in Argentina, Belgium, and 3rd in Italy. However, he never really raced again after 1953, because he didn't race a lot. So he did 3 seasons, 3 years, here and there, with some drives of Maserati and Lancia, with 3 5th place finishes. But he ended his career with an insane amount of podiums, despite never winning a race, and yet his rotten luck in official F1 Grand Prix didn't continue in non-championship events. He won 6 non-championship F1 races, beating the likes of Ascari, Farina, Gonzalez, and Hawthorne in such events. He won at tracks such as Syracuse, Po, Vallelunga, Modena, some random street track in France, and Borum, which I didn't even know hosted any F1 or 2 F3 races. The Milan native also finished 7th in the Indy 500 in 1946, finishing as the 3rd highest rookie and the only European to compete. And can I just very quickly say, hats off to him for doing that, because most drivers, if they competed in the Indy 500 and were European at the time, they would struggle, because they wouldn't be driving on ovals. They would be driving mainly on road courses or street circuits. Hats off to him for actually trying that, and he did a really good job. He finished as the 3rd highest rookie, as I said, which was very impressive. He died in 1997 in August, aged 88. And that's it. That's number 8, Luigi Villoresi. A driver who was incredible post-war in between the end of World War II and the start of the Formula 1 World Championship. Yet he could not buy luck, even if he paid £1 billion for it. That's part 8, Luigi Villoresi. I'll be back for episode number 7, which is on an Italian who, on his day, was a very quick driver, although he had 2 British teammates plotting against him. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe.